like, fine.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
Cool, Ella. All right. Okay. Edwin, what's up, man?
What's good? What's good? My name Elwin, obviously. Um, so yeah. Um,
Where are you from?
I felt, huh?
Where are you from?
I'm from Bronx, New York.
Awesome.
It's crazy out here sometimes. Um, so I just want to address the situation. It was like everyone's talking about Black Lives Matter, police brutality, but like no one actually knows like why we doing this for. You know? Like I understand like people are raising awareness, but this to the point where like I feel like some people just doing it just to do it, you know? It's just like a trend now, you know? But like I just want to share like I feel like the people, the minorities in within the Maxi community, we should like express our situation, you know? So you guys could like understand too, could get like more information about why we doing this, why they feel that way, you know? Cause like it's a different neighborhood out here, it's a different lifestyle out here, and like no two lives are the same, you know. Like the reason why I go hard in life is gonna be completely different from why you guys go hard in life, you know. So like um the other day there was rioting in front of my house, in front of my building, rioting, tearing down all these small businesses, putting up fires, all that other stuff. There was a curfew like around 11 p.m. The rioting started around 11:30. The riot was going on for like a good 2 hours. The police didn't come until 1 o'clock in the morning. The police over here don't care no more. They don't care no more. And like it's getting worse out here because like they're criminalizing us, and it's like it's just I don't know, man. I don't know. It's It's crazy. Like, my fault. I have like so much like in my mind right now. So like if you could, like ask me some questions, like I got you.
I mean, I wanted to ask you. I have a lot of questions, and it's amazing, and I'm really grateful for the opportunity to talk to you because you offer a very different perspective than the one that I've been getting because you are from the Bronx.
Yeah.
Like my Black friends are from Cape Cod, which is like predominantly white, and it's not the Bronx. It's
Yeah.
like it's very different. And so to hear your perspective is I'm really grateful for that. So thank you for being willing to share. And I want to well, the first, I want to start where I have some questions, but I want to start where you left off, which is like understanding why there are riots. I heard, and I'm blanking on his name, but there was a great video by I think he was an NFL player, explaining. It's called "Dear White People." Did you see that, or did anyone see that video?
I might have heard it.
It was. Oh, you did see that?
The Man Antha, I think his name was.
What was it?
The Man Antha, it's his IG name.
Yeah. I forget his name. I don't watch football that much. But he was saying that, and it made a lot of sense to me, that the reason that there's riots, the reason that, like for example, there's like the white people who are saying like, oh, they need to stop all this rioting. They need to stop all this violence. They are just so violent. It's like the rioting that happens, and even like the killing and shooting within the Black community happens because police don't take Black lives as seriously as white lives. Like, how do you expect, for example, Black people to take other Black people's lives like as seriously in the streets if cops aren't there to protect them? It's like, what do you think's going to happen? Like when a white person gets shot, it's handled so differently than if a black person gets shot. So, I mean, I just wanted to hear your perspective on why you think the rioting is happening. And obviously, you know, it relates to just like being so unheard. But why in your perspective is the rioting?
Now, like, I feel like they're rioting because they're frustrated, you know? It builds up over time, you know? Like, it goes from way back in the day. Like, it just builds up, you know? Like, Colin Kaepernick, he took a knee. He got bashed on, you know? Other people, they say something, they get bashed on. Eric Garner, he got choked out. He got killed. He said, "I can't breathe." People were bashing on like people for there was like people in the NBA who were supporting him, right? They got bashed on too for supporting him. It's like we want a voice, but we can never have it, you know? We try to say something and we get
You try to say something peacefully and no one listens.
yeah, you gotta be quiet, like nah, like yo, hear me out real quick. Stop playing. Like I feel like people are writing because they're frustrated. It's like built up frustration. And I heard too, Chris Cuomo, he said on CNN, a Tale of Two Cities. I don't know if y'all saw that, but like he basically said, people are rioting, people are protesting, and people are saying that what they're doing is wrong. There's no right or wrong to this, you know, because we all have a part in this. The majority, the minorities, the government, we all have a part in this. And like the minorities, all we want is a voice. We just want to be heard. That's it. And I just feel like now it's good that we finally getting a voice, we finally being heard. But like as I said before, like now it's bad because it's becoming a trend. And you know, people nowadays they're quick to be trendsetters, you know? They hopping on that trend. Because in a couple of months, I bet you they're gonna stop talking about this. And it's sad too, but rioting, like I wanna say some riots are good because you have like all the right intentions of doing it. But then the riot that happened right here around my block, it wasn't no good intention. You're burning down, you're looting black owned businesses in a low income community. Like we already suffering as it is. Why are you gonna add to that, you know? It's bad. It's making us seem like we the problems, you know?
Yeah.
Because people are already saying that, oh, they're the problems, oh, they thugs, they hood rats, they do this, they do that. But like we proving them right, you know? We doing all this dumb stuff out here, thinking we setting the tone, we doing this, we doing that, acting out. Like no, acting out doesn't do nothing for you at all. Some riots some riots are good, but it depends where you do it at, you know? I feel like they had riots in the Bronx, but that's bad. If they was to have a riot in Manhattan, because that's where all the corporate jobs are at, and they have insurance to rebuild, you know, that's fine, because they have money to rebuild, you know. Over here, they got no insurance. It took them years just to have a small business. I remember down there was like what's it called, liquor store. 30 years put in, no insurance though. It got ran through a couple days ago. Glass all over the floor, bottles everywhere. You know, it's crazy out here. It really is. But yeah.
Yeah, it's so you think, I mean, I agree, like the rioting, some of it actually needs to happen for the voices to be heard, but
Yeah.
you know, not in your own communities, obviously.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah.
It's like, I don't know, man, it's wild. I want to ask you what you think needs to happen this year, and then what is a white man's role and what is a white woman's role?
Honestly, as far as a white man, a white woman's role.
Well, okay, what needs to happen this year? and then break it back.
To change?
Yeah, to change. Yeah.
There's really nothing we could do this year. I'm gonna be honest with you. There's really nothing we could do.
Like
It's
politically, like
politically, nah, because the way I see it, we can't, for minorities, we can't keep on blaming the majority, the government, the white people for how we living, you know? Because it took me a couple of years to understand this, but like, we live in the ghetto. We live in a community, right, in a society where like we have to do this, we have to do that because of the opportunities that are put for us, provided for us, right? We tell ourselves that. We tell ourselves, oh, make sure you go to school, get this job, so you could become successful and like good benefits, good. No, we don't gotta do all that. But there was kids, we have kids in the ghetto seeing people getting shot, people getting stabbed, selling drugs, or doing this, doing that. And they're believing that, oh, this is what life is like, huh? Okay. So they grow up believing that, they grow up becoming that. Every day we see crackheads all over the corner shooting up on drugs. That messes with your mind mentally, you know? And like I feel like it's not I just feel like as a community we could do so much more. Like as far as your question goes on what we could do this year, I just feel like as a community we need to do better. Like there's just the minority, we need to educate ourselves, you know? Because we're so focused on what we already know, and we don't want to figure out what we don't know, because that's scary. What you don't know scares you. Yeah, I understand that, but you can't be afraid of what you don't know, because that could change your life. I lived in the Bronx when I was 16. I moved out and went to Waterbury, Connecticut. I came back right after graduation, but while I was in Connecticut, I saw the lifestyle. I saw the suburban lifestyle. It's completely different. It's completely different. I'm around white people. It's not as diverse, but I'm around white people. I'm feeling safe. I feel good, you know. I'm educating myself because I want to live in a suburban area. Also, what I gotta do, live in a suburban area, you know? I come back to the ghetto. All minorities, they're doing this, we're doing that, or we robbing, we shooting. When I was 12 years old, I saw outside the windows 2 people getting shot. One in their hand, one in their chest, right across the street. And I was like, damn, why this gotta happen? You know, why we doing this? What's the point of all this violence for? Violence leads to more violence. You kill him, he gonna kill your friend, you know? You know what I'm trying to say? Like, it's crazy. It's a never-ending cycle, and I just feel like we need to do better. We need to educate ourselves, and that's why when I grow up, I had plans to come back over here to the ghetto areas and just like reach out to the kids, reach out to the public. You know, like you don't gotta live like this no more. You could educate yourself and live the life you always want to live. You don't gotta.
What do you mean by educate yourself? Can you break that down more?
No, I got you. By educating yourself, focus on yourself internally, you know? Don't let the negativity get to you. Focus on self-development, gain that higher consciousness, and then focus on what you want to do in life, you know? Focus on just that, you know? Because that manifests itself into your life, you know? But like, the more you just focus on the negativity, the more it's just dumb, you know? Like, my fault if I'm like all over the place, but like I just
No, you're making a lot. I mean, it's really amazing to hear. Honestly, it's like you're pretty much saying like, while the whole system is fucked, you're saying focus on you and what you can control, and focus on your mindset, personal development. Like that's amazing that you're saying that. Like, higher consciousness. I mean, like shit, like this is like, I'm trying to think like, how can I look at this group right now? It's small, but it's majority white. Like how can we open, you know, not necessarily just Maxie, but like how can we open the Bronx community? How can we open your community to the world of self-development even more? Because, you know, it's obviously like, look at you, man, you're a leader. Like, imagine if more people around you were thinking like you. It's like, how do we spread that?
Dude, that's what I want to do too. Like, it's crazy because you could push something, you could push this notion, push this idea on someone. They're gonna reflect it because it's foreign to them. They're not used to it. You know, all they know is violence. So that's really all they want to be around. They scared of change. That's the thing. What I learned in life is everything in life is temporary. The only constant in life is change. You know what I'm trying to say? Like, I just want to get back to the community. I want to help them. If I could talk to like 10 people and I change one person's life, if I touch one person, I did my job, you know? Because who's to say that person later down the line in life, they could change other people's lives, you know?
I wanna show you something, Edwin, and I want to recommend a book to you actually that might help with that. And I've spoken about this on a live call before, but I'm gonna pull it up. I'm gonna pull it up again. It's called the book is called Levels of Energy by Frederick Dodson. Consciousness scale, and there's this thing called the consciousness scale. Actually, I'm going to pull up my version of it. But it basically hits on exactly what you were just saying, because you're explaining that, you know, if you try to push self-development on someone who's in a violence mindset, it's not going to work, right?
Yeah, they start making fun of you. It's like, oh, look at this clown ass person, you know? Like, it's crazy.
Exactly. So can you see my screen?
Yeah.
Yeah. So this is a measure of energy on a scale of 0 to 1,000, where, you know, below 200 is negative energy, and it leads to, you know, hurting. It leads to inflicting damage, violence. Like, that's low level energy stuff here. Now, the thing to understand that I'm going to give you like the brief overview on that, I think if you check out the book, Levels of Energy, it might help you. It might help you help more people specifically. And what it is that if you're in this mindset, I'm going to hurt someone, if that's the majority of people around, you know, around the Bronx, you're like, if you try to go to someone who's into the violence mindset and you say, hey man, just practice gratitude, he's going to be like, what the fuck? Like,
Yeah, like this clown ass nigga.
Yeah, exactly. Like, dude, like, it doesn't. So look, see, like, this is down here, this is up here. It doesn't resonate. It's like another language, honestly. Like, it's like,
Yeah.
you might as well be speaking like Arabic to them, like or you know, you might as well be speaking fucking Hebrew. Like, they're gonna have no idea what you're saying, unless, you know, I don't think there's a lot of Hebrew speaking people in the Bronx, but who knows? And so the point is, if you want to get across your message, you have to go up the ladder. So someone who's violent, the way to move them out of violence, and this, by the way, this is like a very basic overview. And that book goes much more into it. But if you want to talk to them, you need to like reach them closer to where they're at. So instead of saying, you know, practice gratitude, why don't you go meditate? Why don't you, you know, read this book? Like, you need to reach them where they're at and say something like, you know, what the fuck is the point of all this violence? Or like what's the point of, what's it, like, something like, it's got to be dark. Like, you got to go down to resonate with them. It might even
Yeah.
be like, what's the point of living, man, if like all we're gonna do is shoot each other? Like, what's the point of living if all we're gonna do is fight? They're gonna feel that. They're gonna be like, yeah, what is the point? And they'll hear you. Then once you're in, you know, the mindset that they're in, you like, believe it or not, the idea of what's the point of living is better than people going out and fighting each other, causing violence, you know, selling drugs that could kill people. So you know, saying something like what's the point of living? That's going to hit with them. Then once they're up there, that's still like low motivation. That's dark. Then you get them up to the level of fear, the level of importance. So this could be like, you know, self validation. So just like making them feel important, like, you know, highlighting someone in a community for some type of effort, like highlighting, you know, giving someone a compliment, making them feel validated. After they've been validated, that's even a little bit better. They're still not going to resonate with gratitude, but that's a little better. Then, and I might even, I skipped like a lot of steps. Like when people are talking shit about each other, like I wrote here, like Arlin's a tool or Arlin's a loser. Arlin doesn't know what he's talking about. Like if you're at the lunch table at school and you're talking shit about people, that's a low vibration thing. But if you can get someone who was previously saying, what's the point of living, to start talking shit about someone, that's a step up. That resonates even more deeply. Now, if you have someone who's talking shit about other people and then you make them feel special, you point them out in the community, you give them a compliment, that's even better. Then beyond that, now they're finally above the 200 line. Like that's a huge step. Then it kind of comes to a point where they'll probably start to feel it more on their own. But like, this is where they start to feel like, oh, if I take care of my body, if I, you know, go on a run, if I do some yoga, like if I eat healthy, that's going to make them feel even better. Then they're ready for gratitude. But see, there's like 5 steps in between that are unclear, you know, spiritually, like higher consciousness wise, that if it were more clear somehow, I don't know what that action looks like. That's the type of change that I think would really impact people more than like, how do we get books out to the Bronx? Like, it's like people like you are the leaders, you know? Does that resonate with you at all? Did that make any sense? Like,
No, it definitely does. It definitely does.
yeah, it's building rapport. It's building a connection with someone based on where they're at in their consciousness. You said higher consciousness, like we just looked at a lower consciousness. Higher consciousness doesn't really resonate with lower consciousness. You have to go lower and then carry them up. That's what all good spiritual teachers are good at doing.
I got you.
So I want to stop talking. I want to ask you the latter part of the question, which is like, what do you think like a white man's role in this is, or a white woman, or even for that matter, an Asian man? What do you think are other races' role right now, specifically a white man? Because, you know, look at the country, there's white men in power.
I just feel like right now we're kind of doing good, you know. White people doing good. They supporting us, you know. That's all that matters. As long as we know that y'all got our backs, that's really all that matters, you know. But like, I feel like right now, all a white man has to do is just support us. But you gotta like understand why you're supporting us, though. You know what I'm trying to say? Like, you gotta understand, like, if you're gonna do something, like, actually go deep into it. You know, learn more about it, educate yourself. Be like, damn, okay, I see it. Let me support these people because they suffering out here. It's real out here. They suffering. Let me support them. Raise awareness. Oh, Black Lives Matter. That's fine. I have nothing against it, but I just feel like right now it's good right now. But like I just feel like a part of me just feels like they don't know why though. You know, I'm just scared of it becoming trendy because once it becomes a trend, everyone's on it. And y'all just missing the whole big point of it. But like right now, as a white man, like I feel like y'all doing good. Like Arlin, I see you on Instagram. You doing good. You know what you're doing.
Brian.
You put it on your Instagram stories. I was like, okay, I see you. But like, yeah, I think y'all doing good. I just need to like understand fully more about about the situation at hand.
Michael, I'll get to you in a second, and then I want to talk to Zay. I want to let Pauline speak too. I want to ask one more thing. I think one of the biggest things I can do right now is because like I'm learning. I have so much to learn. I have calls every night with my Black friends that I've known my whole life and just never talked about this stuff. So, I'm excited for those conversations to happen. But I think that one of my biggest things I can do is talk to all my white friends, because I have so many white friends like coming from where I'm at who were literally in the same place that I was a week ago, who think like, I have Black friends, I'm not racist. Like, and that's just not it. And it took me 23 years to get that. And that's the fucked up thing about this whole situation. It's like, it's such an invisible thing. Like, white people don't even know that they're not helping. And they just don't get it. So for me, for someone who's like getting it now, to have the conversation with my white friends, like I'm hoping that I can, I got a lot of white boy friends. Like I could get like a lot of them to get on the movement. So that's what I'm thinking is a good idea. What do you think about that?
No, like I feel like that's perfectly fine too. Like that's really good, because like right now you're educating yourself, like you said. You talking to your Black friends. You talking to people like me. You're not just getting one area. You're getting like Black people, the minorities from all over, because we all have different stories to tell. And I feel like the more stories you find a sense of resemblance within it.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like the more you listen out to the Black folks, the Black stories the stories we all have to tell, the more you're gonna see like, oh, okay, I see, I understand them, and then from that you tell your white friends, tell your friends like, oh, this is why we're doing it. Let me tell you why we're doing it. Let me tell you why a kid named Edwin, why he's supporting this, why he living his life like this. We need to support people like him, We had it good. I don't know about white people, but like from the notion of society, they have it good, I don't know if that's true or not. I don't judge. But like y'all have it good. We don't. Y'all feel sorry. Y'all could. It don't matter. But like y'all trying to support us, Well, I don't even know what I'm saying right now. I'm just
good.
It's crazy out here.
Michael, you've had a question for a while. Did you want to ask? I froze. Shit. Oh, we're back. Michael, you had a question?
Yeah.
Okay.
I play like a pretty like white sport. I play golf, and
What are you talking about? Tiger rules the game.
That's a fact.
That's true. That's true. How do I like impact like the Black community from where I live in like a predominantly white town and play a predominantly white sport? Because like we had I have a good friend who is Black who's on a golf team, and he's like the only Black kid. and I've like been reaching out to him and kind of getting his like side of it. How do I don't know, make it more like okay for people of color to play in like the sport and just like be in this community?
Edwin, did you want to answer?
Oh, that's for me.
Oh, I mean, I have some thoughts on that, but I'd love to, let you speak first on that.
No, so basically the question was, well, you want to let him know like more black people could play the sport or something like that?
Yeah, and like how just like in general where I live, like just make it more normalized that like kind of not what happened with Arlin and Craig, kind of just make it,
Yeah, I have some thoughts on that. I mean, Edwin, feel free to chime in, but I was talking to my friend Craig about this. Same situation, predominantly white town. Craig was like the only, I think we had 15 black kids in our grade of 200, and Craig was like the only one in our friend group because we were like, the athletic group. And he told me he felt like he never had real friends. And this is a kid I've known since I was 7 years old. And he felt like he never fit in. He felt like he had to act white to fit in. Like he couldn't be himself because he felt like if he was himself that we would invite him to hang out. And he was telling me there were so many nights where he would see us on Snapchat, on Instagram together, and we didn't invite him. And it's like, I didn't do that consciously. None of my, like, we all love Craig. Like, I've kept in touch with Craig over the years throughout college, through everything. But like, I can't help but think back. And I was saying this at the beginning of the call, but like, I can't help but think back and imagine like, holy shit, like, was I unknowingly racist for like not including Craig in a party, or like, and just like imagine that, like put yourself in his shoes, like what it's actually like imagine, Michael, if you went to, and you were the only white kid in like a whole school, would you try to act more black to fit in?
Yeah.
What would
sure.
you do anything possible to try to get people to notice you and invite you to parties? Like, so what Craig told me, he's like what you can do in the future, what I wish you kind of would have done for me is just include them, like invite them to parties, but don't do it out of pity. Don't do it because you feel like you have to. Just like, and don't say anything like, yo, like I'm on your side. Like, don't say shit like that. Don't say like, I support you, like you're welcome here. Just literally like talk to them, like talk to them more. You have to be aware of this though. Like, you might be unknowingly racist. And that's one of the hardest things for a white person to hear, I think. Like, you might be unknowingly racist. So, just being aware of yourself. And then the last thing I would say is talk to your white friends about all this and be like, just like, try to help them see what you've realized.
Yeah. Does that mean like, I don't know, if I'm like with like black friends or whatever, and there's a situation that they're like uncomfortable in, like,
I'm sorry.
I don't know.
I do it myself, but it's so funny to see another white guy like be so uncomfortable. My black friends.
Like, I don't like, am I supposed to say that or like, no? Like, I don't even.
Dude, I think it's fine.
Yeah.
I think we have to say that now. Like, because in the past I was uncomfortable being like my black friends, because I was like, they're just my friends. They're not just my black friends, But like, they are your black friends. So fuck it.
Do I like? Is it like okay?
I think it's
like,
better
okay,
than. I think it's better than just trying to be colorblind. Colorblindness is the problem. Colorblindness is like being like, oh, I just have friends. They're not black friends. They're just friends. That's the reason that there's systemic racism still. Like, that's why people don't know that they're racist, because they think that they're not, like, and they don't see race. Anyway, I want to stop talking. I want to let you ask Edwin a question or whatever. Also, I'll be right back.
Oh yeah, I was just gonna say, like, is it okay to, like, if they're like in a situation where maybe they're like uncomfortable for some reason, like checking in on them? I don't know, it kind of sounds dumb, but
What, like, to say like, oh, my black friend, something like that?
yeah.
So I don't even know. Like, for me, when I went to Connecticut, it was like a predominantly white area. So like, I never really heard them say, my black friend, my white friend, something like that. Cause like, I feel like, I don't even know. But nah, you good, you good, you good. Don't even say black friends like that. Cause I just feel like that adds to it. That just adds to the problem. You know, I don't know, but whenever I see that, whenever I see all my black friends, my white friends, something like that, I get offended. I'm like, what, bro? Like, what? Like, we all together, bro. Like, I don't know.
Yeah.
Not my fault if I'm being vague right now. If I don't make sense, it's just some shit happened yesterday. It's like I can't get over it, but.
Edwin, did you say you get offended when people say like my
Yeah,
white friend, my black friend?
I do.
Oh, okay, all right. I mean,
I'm like, damn, what?
so then I think it's Michael. I think it's like, don't talk about it. Don't say like my black friend, but like know in your own head that this is your black friend. This is, or a black friend, or this is an Asian friend, and that you might be fucking it up. Like, you might be fucking it up unknowingly, because this is a whole thing people are saying, like, we have to unlearn racism because we've been systemically brought up to be racist.
Yeah.
So that's why having the self-awareness that, like, I am with a black person and I have been brought up to pretty much be racist. So I have to be aware right now. Like, you have to be higher conscious and look at your, like, are you, like, I'm starting to think, like, I'm really having this realization now. Like, I think white people who think they aren't racist actually are, and they just go lower consciousness whenever they're being racist. And they don't even know that they are, which is why it's so fucked up. Anyway, Zay, are you there?
Yeah, what's up?
What's up, Zay? I wanted to just give you a voice because I saw you said that you're a police officer and you support the movement.
Yeah.
So I just wanted to ask if you had any words to add, any questions or anything.
Yeah. So basically, I'm in the Air Force. I'm in something that's called SF, which is security forces, which is in short terms a police officer, but with the military. So I don't enforce the United States law. I enforce the law under the military, which is called the UCMJ, and that is similar to outside law. But besides the fact, the point I'm trying to make is there's, like, right now there's a huge like understanding or belief that's being put out by the media and by social media especially, that officers and police officers are, the majority wise, bad people, or not doing the right thing. And something I want to add real quick is, in fact, and these are actual statistics, last year there were 10 million arrests. 10 million people were arrested last year. Lethal force was used 1,040 times last year. 1,040 times people were killed, 41 of which were unarmed civilians. 41 of those 1,040 people were unarmed and they were killed. 9 of them were African American. 14 of them were white, and the rest were, like Asian, Hispanic. Basically, what I'm saying is, the media, and just the media alone and social media, is portraying this issue as, I feel like, as a lot bigger than what it actually is, in fact. And I stand with African American people, and that's never been a second. Like I've never had to think that in my mind that I was going to go after someone because of their color or for any of those reasons. And I think that like nowadays, when everybody, like all my friends, for example, all my friends are posting all these things in their Instagram, supporting the movement, supporting Black Lives Matter. And of course you should, and everybody should. And that's never been a thought in my mind that you should go against that. You should go against Black people or any person of color for that matter. But the thing is that I think that everybody that I know is honestly with the Black community. I've never met someone who is discriminated against an African American person for being that color or a
Where are you
Hispanic
from today?
person. I'm from New York. I went to a predominantly African American and Hispanic high school. My graduating class was over 800 students, many of which were African American and Hispanic. So all my friends were African American, Hispanic, and yeah, there's never been a thought in my mind to criticize or discriminate against somebody of color. I mean, I'm open to questions, or you if anybody wants insight on what I think as holding a position to enforce the law. If anybody has any questions or something like to say.
Yeah, I have two questions. The first one, first one's not really a question. It's just something that I've learned. And it's like, while, the statistics clearly show that the type of violence that incites riots is not as common as the media is portraying it, what I have learned is, and just in talking to some of my Black friends that I have known my whole life, it's, that's what incites riots. But, and Zay, I understand, you might not see this if you went to a predominantly, African-American Hispanic high school, but like it's the day-to-day anxiety of being a Black man in America that is the under the table, silent, insidious thing that's going on. Just talking to my friend Kings, he's been pulled over 10 times and never gotten a ticket. And I'm just reflecting, like, I live in pretty much the same area as Kings. I've been pulled over once and I was going 100 miles an hour and I got a ticket. And he's been pulled over 10 times for nothing, for a blinker, for a seatbelt. I've never gotten pulled over. I don't wear a seat. Like, I wear a seatbelt most of the time, but like, there's definitely been times where he's been pulled over for being in the back seat and not wearing a seatbelt. And it's shit like that. Like, my trainer, Kenny, in the fall, I was posting a lot with him. We got kicked out of a gym. And they said it was because I was filming. But I talked to him, and I remember that day we got kicked out. He told me he was feeling really anxious. And I was like, why are you feeling anxious? Because, like, I love helping people through anxiety because I've been through it. And I feel like I have a good grip on it. And he told me, like, he was feeling really anxious that day. And I was like, why? And he's like, I can't really tell you why. And I was like, what do you mean? Like, just tell me. Like, I've talked to a lot of people about this. I'm sure I could get it. He's like, nah, like, I don't think you would understand. And he never told me. And I was like, all right, man, like, whatever. And then he just told me 2 nights ago, the reason he felt anxious is because he was feeling racially profiled by a guy at the gym who worked there. And we got kicked out later that day. And I thought it was because I was filming Instagram stories. That's what he told me. Right. And I was like, this doesn't make sense. And so it's like, it's things that white people like that, like me, don't see and don't even talk to my Black friends about, like not being able to walk in a hotel and like waiting, if you see a white lady getting her mail at the mailbox, Black people, like a Black friend of mine will wait in his car for her to not be at the mailbox anymore because he doesn't want to scare her. Like, that's fucked up. And that's not.
I agree. I'm not saying that doesn't exist, and it does exist. It exists every fucking day. I know friends that's had that happen too. I myself, I'm tan. I'm not African American, but I'm very tan. I'm half Hispanic. But and I've been racially profiled. You know, I know that feeling of walking into an unfamiliar place, surrounded by predominantly white men and women, and just being looked at, or they have to take a double take because of the color of your skin. And I'm not saying that doesn't exist, because that sure as hell fucking exists. But yeah, no, I
Mhm.
know what you're saying.
So my question for you is, do you think, and this is like totally unrelated. I mean, I validate your experience. I just wanted to bring that up.
Yeah.
But do you think there needs to be some type of reform in the police system, like more training, or like, what do you think from your perspective?
So I've undergone 6 months of military training, and 4 months of which were actually police training. And this is through the military. This is not through a county or state police. This is, and we were never taught anything has anything to do with color. We were never, like, never, and you know, when to pull someone over, when to make a certain action towards somebody, or it has nothing of which I've learned has anything to do with anybody's color or race. What
Do
exactly?
you think that
What was the
there?
question?
So my question is, should there be any type of reform on any level of police in America? And honestly,
Mhm.
dude, like in this realization that, like, I think white people in specific are unknowingly racist. I almost think, like you said, there's no training about color, but
Yeah,
like, I'm honestly thinking there should be, because white people specifically need to realize that they might be like a police officer who's training, who's going to be able to have a gun. A white police officer needs to understand and unlearn racism.
right. I know exactly what you're saying, and I have something to say about that. So, for instance, the reason why I believe color is not really, it's not put into the program of when you're training, is because nowadays, especially to set another statistic out there, white officers in Chicago, for instance, because this statistic comes from Chicago, a couple weekends ago, 82 people were shot, 19 of which were killed in 1 hour a couple weeks ago, and they were all black on black crimes. Now in places such as that, there is this notion subconsciously in the back of officers' head that, I mean, the statistics show that, you know, you have to be a little bit more vigilant around people of color. I'm not saying that that's not racist. That's just being, because officers have a job to do. They have a job of protecting and serving the community, and that's something that they should be aware of. And I also agree with what you're saying, that subconsciously many people might be, in fact, like a little bit racist, or like walking into a gym and having to take a double take at an African American person because of their color. That becomes, you know, such a norm because of things like crimes, like black on black crimes, and things in statistics such as that from Chicago a couple weeks ago. And it's just this notion that's portrayed by the media that signifies colored people as being more, or as being more able or capable, and statistics show this, that they cause more crime, and that is why police officers are, you know, they behave that way towards people of different ethnicities other than white. But I know what you're saying, and another thing is, you can't really train people to look at different ethnicities differently, because as soon as you do that, you start to shy away from the actual law enforcement side, and you start to give more privileges to different colors of ethnicity, just because of the notion that's out there, because the media portrays that, oh, black people are being, you know, they're being killed, they're being, you know, ridiculed, they're being discriminated against. But that is not, you know, law is law. If you commit a crime, you don't have to deal with that crime. And that's not really preached in the community or in training, from what I can take from it.
Thanks for your perspective on that. Before we continue, I do want to say we're 13 minutes over, and if anyone wants to leave, we're not going to think you're racist because, you know, I don't want anyone to feel pressured. But I still want to continue talking. So if anyone wants to stay, more than welcome to. But if you have other obligations or anything, no one's judging. So Zay, so you don't think, some type of like unlearning racism type thing could happen in police education, or you don't think it's, what do you think on that exactly?
I'm sitting here trying to think about how that could actually be incorporated, and I just honestly don't see that being something that people are taught. Imagine sitting in a classroom and being told, now class of young officers or young future officers, we're going to be talking about race. Now when you approach a white person, blah 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 blah. Now when you approach a black person or a person of any color, you have to act this way, you have to do it this way. Let's say that they're being shady just because they're black, now you can't, or just because they're Asian, just because they're Hispanic, now you can't act the same way as if you would act if they were white, because that just inflicts on the entire like criminal justice system.
Mm-hmm. I mean, just to add to that, and then Josh wanted to add something, and then after this point, I want to let Pauline speak. But I think this is one of the most complicated issues in the world, and I think it would probably, if there were some type of unlearning racism type thing in the police school, I would think that it'd be more complicated. There would be an expert there. It wouldn't be like just act, it wouldn't be as simple as how you just described it. And I'm not saying, you didn't describe it well. I'm just saying someone would probably have like advanced proven protocols that show specifically white people, white officers, like, a way to expose that they actually might be racist. And it goes beyond just act this way or act this way. I think. I don't know. But Josh, do you want to add?
Yeah.
Josh is from Melbourne, Australia, by the way.
Adding on,
so we got a whole nother perspective.
Just like from my view, it is hard if you have a mental handbook of like, we're going to treat one race one way and one race another way. But I feel like a way to work around that is just to more training on empathy and emotional intelligence, just reading situations. If you can tell that, if you have, I understand pulling a car over for things like seatbelt in the back of the car, like that shouldn't be happening like it is, but pulling people over and understanding that you can read they're like concerned for their own safety. Just read that and know that you don't have to show your power. And I'm not saying you as anyone in here, but just generalized.
I like where you're
just to be a greater understanding of like, you don't know who is in the car or who you've walked past on the street. You don't know what they've been through or what they're going to go through. You don't know if their friend 2 weeks ago has had a run-in with the police and they're really cautious and upset by that. You don't know what they've been through, and I feel like there needs to be more empathy and IQ, emotionally trained through the system, just to read situations better. Because like one thing that I've struggled with the media recently is they portray the cops in such a robotic way, and it's hard when you have the cops all lined up in a row of 10 by 5, all standing there like toy soldiers.
They look like robots.
Exactly. There's no empathy. But when you have videos of people coming together and giving, like the guy with the free hugs t-shirt, I love that video because it's humanizing the cops, and it's just showing that emotional side to it. Because when people can read that and understand that, it breaks down barriers. And I feel there needs to be more emotional intelligence brought into it, because it can just like save a lot of miscommunication, which I feel like is a lot of the issue half the time. Now, I'm not saying there isn't racist cops, because in every subcategory and every subpopulation, you're going to have racist people and like people that just don't understand. They have a different way of thinking that you just don't get it. And that's how they are. But I feel like a lot of the case is just miscommunication. and just fear between both sides that just can be like eliminated through better training in terms of emotional intelligence. But anyway, that was just my thought.
I like that a lot. Yeah, I think, and I don't know what police training's like at all. Zay, did you want to add a last remark on that? But I mean, I think like emotional intelligence, like being able to have a higher level understanding of like where a person is at would be
Right.
obviously beneficial.
And we're actually taught that. We're taught like how to notice things of that, and like basically take a psychological look at when you're trying to assess a situation or pull someone over. You see, in the Air Force, for my job, it's different than like outside real world police, because we're taught to act on an act, not walk up to a vehicle and be prepared or have my weapon pulled out. I am not allowed to take my weapon out of my holster until somebody gives me 3 reasons they have the capability, intent, and opportunity to harm me. That is when I'm able to take out my weapon and fire. But see, that's different, because the outside world, you know, it's a lot. You're not dealing with military members. You're dealing with, you know, real world situations, and really there's situations that you go into that really, you know, anything can happen. Anything, absolutely anything is possible in the real world. But you know, I know what you're saying, and I do agree. Black lives do matter, and I support the movement. And I think everybody I know does. You know, everybody supports human rights, because at the end of the day, we're all humans, and we all deserve the right to be humans, essentially. You know, and it's sad. It's sad what's going on, and you know, I really enjoyed this talk. You know,
Me too.
it's a really good insight from other people.
Yeah, thank you, Zay. Pauline, I want to hear from you. Just if you have any words or anything you wanted to add, anything.
Yeah, I mean, this whole issue, it is a lot more complicated than what I think a lot of people realize. Just I go to, it's like a really small like Christian college in Pennsylvania, but I got a scholarship there, which is
Where are you from?
I'm from Maryland.
Okay.
Yeah, but so I got a scholarship into this school. It's called Messiah College, and it's basically the scholarship program. We took a lot of classes about diversity and social justice. We did a lot of research into it, and it's like I never really, like, I thought I knew a lot, but once we started really digging into it, really doing the research on, okay, how did we get here? What laws were put in place that led us to where we're at right now? Like, you start to realize like it's so much more than what you're taught at school. So I feel like that's one thing, like everyone just, if they really do want to get involved and try and help out, they should just start doing some research of like what's actually happening. Like, why are we where we're at? And you can find it's on like every level. It's not just police brutality. It's in education. It's in housing. It's in getting jobs. Like, it's literally every single aspect of life. So, but yeah, going back to the uh, I guess the training for the officers, I think it would be extremely helpful to have some type of diversity training. My godfather is the pastor at the church I go to, and they went through a few weeks of diversity training just about unconscious biases, like like how you react to people just because of the stereotypes you grew up listening to and stuff like that. I'm not saying that like and it wasn't like attacking anyone, saying that, oh, like you're racist because you believe this or blah blah blah. It was just bringing light to, hey, like, did you ever know that you literally have this embedded in the back of your mind, and you might have never acted on it, but like at least you know it's there. Like, it helped explain a lot of things. But he like came back and was just very like he had rethought everything that he was doing, and it explained a lot of um, his and some of his staff's like their worries in different situations. And yeah, I think like that would be extremely helpful for police officers all over the nation to have some type of training as to like when it comes to things like diversity, how to handle different types of people. And I know Zay made an interesting point about like how it could be coming off as handling people differently based off of like what ethnicity they're from, but I don't necessarily think it would have to end up like that. I'm just thinking of like not too long ago, one of my friends, he's black, he got pulled over. He's like straight A student, um, varsity sports teams, like literally goody two shoes, follows all the rules. He gets pulled over and he starts like breaking down. And the cops come up to the window. He's like shaking in tears, and then he gets arrested. On the police report, it was they wrote down like all of his behavior were signs that he was on drugs. Him shaking, him not being able to speak, breaking down. And it's just like, if like, I'm just thinking, hey, if that cop had had training of like, you know, if you're going to pull over someone at night, here are the statistics of like who that usually happens to. So maybe when you get up to the window, like your first thought shouldn't be, oh, they're on drugs. Maybe I should talk to them and figure out like, why are they crying? Like, why are they shaking so much? Like, am I like intimidating them? And like, he might have come up and been the nicest cop ever, and I feel like my friend still would have broke down crying because he's scared for his life. Like it's stuff like that where like if they had that training of like, hey, just so you know, people might react to you in different ways because this is what's going on right now. Like that could go such a long way. Like my friend would have not been arrested. Like he wouldn't have to go to the courts and try to battle it out, which thankfully he was able to get that off his record. But it's just like that should have never happened in the first place. Yeah.
That's awesome. I mean, that's a really cool insight and like to the argument. I think that's really cool. Like the way that you presented that and like that. Yeah, I mean, it makes a lot of sense. I agree. Pauline, what do you think? Or actually, before I ask another question, Zay, as someone in the police force, what do you think of something like that?
No, I 100% agree. You know, there's a shit ton of ways you can act towards many. Like if you go up to a vehicle and you see someone crying, you can take it as they're on drug. You know, it really depends on the person. It really depends on the officer. It really depends on the person behind that badge. And at the end of the day, I think that it's very important to see past the badge, see past the uniform, because there's a lot of people, a lot of officers out there who actually care, who actually give a shit. And you know, you shouldn't have this stigma in the back of your mind that all policemen are bad, or all policemen, you know, are out to get me. They're out after my color. They're out because, you know, that's just. And I mean, I know. There's proof out there that shows that, you know, there's like what just happened, for instance, like that is, like that's bullshit. Like why? Like that's against everything we're taught as policemen. And you know, there's just this stigma that's been planted in everybody's head, signifying that all cops are bad or all cops are, you know, you should fear for your life when you come into contact with a police officer. And honestly, that, you know, that for me, that just isn't true. You know, I know that that's what it is at specific points in times when you see that happening or when you hear of that happening, but you shouldn't allow just, you know, one run-in or two run-ins or a couple stories you had to really change your entire mindset on what police officers are really out there to do. Because what they're out there to do, they're public servants. They're working for you. You know, at the end of the day. we're all out here to help you and help society, and everybody's equal, man. Everybody's created equal. I just don't know what else to say, honestly, because
It's complicated. I don't expect
it is.
I don't expect you to have an answer. I don't expect
Because you can't, and in reality, you just can't. Like, if someone's had a bad run-in with a cop, like, there's honestly nothing you can do to change that perspective that person already has because of the run-in they already had. Because it's hard. It's really challenging, because if you don't do the right thing one time, it really can affect like everything. Like, if an officer's having a bad day, he goes into a car and acts completely out of line, like he just fucked up everybody. Like everybody, all the rest of the officers are now going to have this stigma planted in by society because they're not doing the right thing. They're not doing what they should be doing. It's unfortunate, and it is really complicated. It's like day to day, occurrence by occurrence. You have to take it and just analyze it.
Cool. Thank you. Okay. I want to ask Pauline the questions I asked Edwin, which are, what is the one thing you think needs to happen this year, if anything's possible? And then, what do you think a white person's best move this year is?
Definitely some legislation changes. Like, there should be police reform. I think there should be a separate, like, third-party organization that investigates complaints that are made to the police. Like, I know there's I forget what it's called, but I know there is a system in place. Like, when you write a complaint about an officer, it goes to, I think it's called like internal affairs or something like that, but it's a part of the police department. And I feel like it should be like a separate, like, third party that's going through all those complaints and stuff like that. Like, just to make it a little.
That police reports should go to the FBI. That's one of my friends argued.
Oh, I haven't known that. Yeah, that would be interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Just to really make sure that it's looked through unbiasedly.
Yeah.
I'd totally be for that if that's possible. But yeah, definitely need to see some changes. And I would say mostly in state legislation, because it's state by state. Like, I know a lot of people are attacking the federal government, but like, at the end of the day, it's your state, it's your county. Like, they're the ones that are really gonna decide what to enforce. So I'd like to see legislation change there. And I think just the most important thing, it's like Michael was saying, reaching out to his friends, or like you've been reaching out to your friends and just talking to them, because until, like, the legislations, like, that takes a lot of time to happen. Like, that's going to take a little bit to get passed and then to start getting enforced. So, like, during that wait time, it's really important that you're just reaching out to people, letting them know, like, hey, like, I'm sorry you're going through this. Like, are you safe? Are you okay? Like, do you want to talk? Like, I'm here to listen. Stuff like that, because I don't know, like, how these protests are gonna go. It doesn't seem like they're losing any momentum, so I feel like tension is just gonna keep on rising and stuff. So it'd be like, I know a lot of my friends have been reaching out to me, and it's made me feel a lot better just knowing that, hey, like, at least my friends are paying attention to what's going on, and they're worried about my welfare too. So I would say that's definitely the most important thing, making sure that you're ready to like, fight for your friends or your family, and let's just help them out. And that, like, honestly, that goes a long way. So
I really like the idea of, like, fight for your friends, because that in what I've seen, as far as white people finally fucking getting it, it's like, it's fight for your friends. It's like my friend Evan, he is he went to school near me. I pretty much grew up with him, and his best friend is this kid named Eric Foley, who's a black hockey player, and he's in the NHL now. and that's my friend Evan's best friend. And they never spoke about race, and they never spoke about any, racism Eric faced, or any, racial profiling or anything like that. And when I talked to Evan about this and my realizations, he saw me crying on my story. He's like, he just wanted to like feel what I was feeling. And I was like, dude, just talk to Eric. Just talk to Eric. And he's talked to Eric. He called me later that night crying. And it's just like, when white people finally get it, that's like, I don't want to say that's all that needs to happen, because then obviously there's so much more, but I feel like, that's like if white people woke up to the level that I feel I have, even though I still don't know shit about this whole thing, at least I'm fighting for my friends, and I'm going to do what needs to happen, And yeah, I think that there's legs to that movement, that idea. Pauline and Edwin, like, I'm someone who, I have my following, but I was with the whole vlog squad this past weekend. Like, I personally have reach, and I have access to like a lot of people. So like, I want to hear like what ideas you think would be most important for me to pass on to like my friends in my circle. I mean, you've been saying, spread the message, like talk to white friends, just keep caring. Like, is there anything else you would want to add?
No, I think that's really about it, to be honest. That's like, just get like more information from like your Black friends, and try to reach out to like different Black people from different areas to get like different stories, because like Black people from Massachusetts they're gonna have a different story from the Black people in Chicago, and it's all over the world, it's all over the country. But just stay educated, know why we doing this, and just like reach out to everybody, be like, yo, we doing this for this reason, we doing this for him, we doing this for her. You gotta know like why we doing this. We just don't hop up on a trend, because then that's just being disrespectful.
Yeah, I definitely add on to that last part of the trend. Like, once, and I don't know, like it really might be different this time. I've seen a lot of articles relating like these protests back to, I don't know if you guys heard about like the Holy Week uprising, which was like the protest that happened after MLK Jr. was assassinated. Like, there were extremely violent riots happening all over the US, and they were called the Holy Week uprisings. But I have seen a lot of articles comparing these protests to those, and the problem was with those, like, once those ended, like, then all the hype was gone, and then all of the people who were, I guess, like, new allies, I don't even know if that's like the right terminology, but they just like disappeared, like they just vanished. So definitely making sure that if you're gonna put something on your story about Black Lives Matter, like, just stay consistent with that. Like, you don't need to post on your story every single day for like the rest of your life, but just know that like you put that out there to your followers, and just keep up that energy, whether it be like this, like the second you see something, calling it out, or I don't know how that's gonna look like, but just making sure that like you're not letting your activism die with the trend, if that makes sense.
Yeah, that's a really great point. That makes me think, like, because I've been super active the past few days, like, what can I do what's sustainable for me to contribute?
So people understand.
Yeah.
That's all you can do.
I'm thinking more social media wise, obviously, because that's, part of my career.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking, like, is it a weekly call like this for, I don't know, 3 months? Like, this is fucking awesome. Like, maybe it's something like this, but not Max related. Maybe it's like this, but it's like public. You know, I think that would be really cool.
Yeah, like Instagram Live or something.
Yeah, Instagram Live, or I could just post a Zoom link on my Snap story, like, you know, every Wednesday at like, this is obviously Maxi time, but like Wednesday at like noon or something. That like, I don't know. That would be
cool. It's a good idea, man. Do that. That's a good idea.
Yeah. Okay, I wanna give you know, anyone else here who hasn't said anything the opportunity to ask any questions. And then of course, you know, if anyone has any Maxi questions after this conversation, I'm happy to talk on that as well. But anyone, Connor, Sarah, Hunter, Craver, Ella, Josh, Michael, Sean, anyone, totally open.
I just want to say thank you for sharing, and thank you for talking about it and bringing it, like being so public, and like you guys, like everyone being so open and honest and having a real conversation. And it's like really helped me realize things. And I'm sitting in my car right now and I'm just looking around at my area and like just talking about everything. It's like really made me reflect on my life, where I live, who I am, and just it's been so eye-opening. So I thank you for sharing and for teaching and helping to educate. So yeah.
Thanks, Sarah.
Yeah, I just want to add to that, like having like being living in like Melbourne, Australia. Like, I graduated last year, about to turn 19 in 2 weeks, and like I went to a high school.
Hold up. I have no idea what you just said. I don't know if it was the accent or the computer.
To reiterate, like I just finished up high school last year, and like throughout my high school we had like 1,500 people, and in our whole school, in my year level, we only had one kid that was black, and he was never in my classes, so I didn't really like got to like talk to him apart from like saying hi as you walk through the corridors and stuff. And I think we only had like
Black
maybe 4 out of
from
sorry,
Black Australian,
like Sudanese. Yeah, like just like we have a lot more like South Sudanese in Australia than we do like African American. But like so like I haven't had a lot of black friends in my circle. I've like currently in my basketball team I've got one kid who's black, but he's not like in my hometown, so I need to speak to him at basketball, and I don't know him on like a personal level. So calls like this for me, it's like right now it's 1:41 a.m. and like I'm wide awake because I'm loving this call, because I'm just learning so much, because I don't have the opportunity to like really get on a deeper level with friends like this, because I don't have any really close like friends necessarily. So yeah, I just want to say thank you just for allowing me to like learn more and get on a deeper level with all this. So yeah.
I don't know if I have to raise my hand, but I was just like, I wanted to agree with like, and like, thank you so much, because just like Josh, like I have in my school, I only have one family that is like black, and I'm not able to talk to anyone and get these kind of experiences. And just the fact that like, thank you, Arlin, for like bringing me into this community where I am able to like be influenced by different perspectives, because I would have never been able to reach out. And I feel like I'm almost like in this bubble right now, because like, I don't know if you could tell, but like I kind of live like in the middle of nowhere. Like I'm like only seeing things through my phone and through the news, and it's so hard when I don't know what's going on and I don't have anyone I could reach out to. So it was so eye-opening. And as much as I can like be influenced by Instagram and all these different aspects of social media, there's just so much going on. It's overwhelming. And like when you open your phone and you see all of the, like this train and like what's true, what's going on, what's false, like, so thank you so much to both you guys for like sharing your experiences. It was so helpful. Thank you.
Damn, this is cool. Like, this needs to happen more.
Seriously though, it's been really helpful. Just to add on to what Ella and Josh were saying. Toronto. So the area I live in, it's a Jewish bubble. I don't know if you guys have heard that before, but everyone knows everyone, and it's like a very small community, and word spreads really fast. And so I don't really have any like Black friends, or like I don't have the opportunity to talk to people because I just don't have those, like I don't have it in my area where I live, right? So this, and like what Ella was saying,
Is she breaking up for anyone else, or is it just me? Okay.
Yeah, she's breaking up bad.
Yeah, she's very robotic.
There isn't another universe right
Elon Musk's son has entered the chat.
now. All right. I'm just going to mute her.
And being so
I'm trying to mute her. I can't. Oh, there she goes. Oh.
I feel so bad. I really want to hear what she was saying.
Oh, okay.
Really so
Okay. I don't really know what to do or say about that. Okay. Hold on. I'll be back in 2 minutes.
I feel like the video is catching up faster than the audio is.
You're also muted, Arlin.
Okay. Okay. I was saying, Sarah, we appreciate your sentiment. Maybe try leaving and coming back. That'd be cool.
Hello?
Who was that? Yeah, Sarah, do you want to try leaving and coming back? Okay. No, yeah, I mean, we'll let her finish her thought. But I wanted to let anyone else say what they wanted to say or ask any Maxi questions. Open here. We're open.
Alan, what's the yeah.
Hello?
You go, man. Sorry.
Mofo, can I just say, thank you for giving me this platform so I could share my experiences, you know, and shining light on the situation at hand. That's all I gotta say.
Of course, Edwin. Yeah, I'm gonna do something with this. if you guys don't mind, I want to post it somewhere. I want to make it available for other people to see. Like, I'll chop it up, I'll edit it. Try to take out any of my F-bombs. I think I'm the only one that swore. But
I swear a lot. I swear a lot.
Yeah. I don't know. I want this conversation was so cool. And it's cool, like, we didn't really even plan this to happen. Like, imagine if we planned something like this. Like, this type of thing could, like, blow up, like, which I think is huge beyond the, again, swearing, but, like, the bullshit that is portrayed on the news. Like, this is real. Like, this is sick. Sarah come back yet? No.
Just one wait for Sarah. What's the premise of tomorrow morning for you, the 6 p.m. call for Maxi going to be?
What?
Like, what's like the premise? Like, is there any like goal for, like, the other week we had like finding your crush or like finding your dream partner? Is there any like goal for this one?
For today's call or tonight?
Yeah, it'll be in the morning. But yeah, for me today.
Oh, the topic of tonight's call. I mean, I haven't got that far, to be honest.
Okay.
I think maybe, continuing this conversation is a good idea.
Awesome.
Like, I don't know. Honestly, it's like, is there anything else that's appropriate to talk about? I don't really think so.
Yeah, true.
Like, the world,
because we'll usually get like 60 people, so just to reach out to more people, spread the message.
Yeah. So, Edwin, Pauline, if you guys want to talk on the 6 p.m. call, I mean, you don't have to. I'm going to do something with this, everything we've talked about here, so people can see this as well. But yeah, I think that'd be a really cool idea. I think this is like super valuable, and with the world being on pause with Corona, and with with the Black Lives Matter movement happening now, I feel like that's a double whammy to be like, all right, let's put our master visions for ourselves on pause. Let's focus on the Black Lives Matter master vision, which is like really, that's what this is all about, which is cool. Sarah, did you want to finish your thought there? Because you cut out and you started talking like a robot for like 5 minutes. Uh-oh. Sarah?
Sorry, I was just hotspotting my computer. Is this better?
Yeah.
No? Yeah? Okay. What I was saying before was just that I live in an area that is not very diverse. It's a bubble. And so growing up, and even like now, like at university, it's a lot better, but I don't really have any like Black friends. So I don't have the opportunity to talk to people and to understand and to have like that personal connection and like to hear it firsthand from someone that I care about. But having this like community, no matter how like right now this chat's 13 people, but I feel like I've just learned so much, and like hearing from Pauline and from Edwin, it goes a long way. So I know we don't know each other, but I mean, with everything that you've said, like I do care and I do feel for you. So thank you for sharing. It's really appreciated, especially like in my area, like in me personally, I don't have that opportunity. So it means a lot.
Thanks, Sarah. Yeah, I think one idea I just got is like, and this goes along with what Pauline and Edwin are saying about this being a trend. Like, here's the thing with Maxi, like we are in Maxi. It's very similar to the reason I created this, which is like, when we want change to happen within ourselves, it can't be a trend, because that's what happens. Like when we want to start hitting the gym, that can't be a trend. That can't be like, oh, it happens for a week and then next week we don't go to the gym anymore. Like if we want to have a better diet, if we want to start, being like, self-educating more, reading more books, you can't get all excited about reading books for a week and then next week not read books. So I would encourage everyone here beyond this week, to solidify this week's impact on us forever, to add something into our master vision, like we would, something for our personal goals, for our travel goals, for our fitness goals, for our school goals. Like add something like third person. Arlin is excited that he's holding a weekly discussion, bringing people together and supporting the Black Lives Matter movement. Add something. It doesn't have to be like that, but Arlin is becoming more and more aware and inclusive and educating himself on racism in America and what he can do to stop it. Because then once it's in the master vision, it's permanent. You're always thinking about it. The reason things become trends is because people stop thinking about it. But if it's in your vision, if you're thinking about this every night, then you're not going to stop. So yeah, I think I'm going to do more thinking about that, but that's just, I think that could be really beneficial to, forwarding this, and it's no longer being a trend. All right, cool. This was an awesome call. It's probably my favorite call I've ever hosted by far. So thank you guys for being a part of it. And I'm gonna put it somewhere, and I want to even like highlight any of the main points. Is anyone here a video editor? No?
I am.
Oh, Craver, you are. I mean, totally up to you, but once this is edited, perhaps if you're open, I might put this more in the networking tab. But like, it'd be really cool to have someone who could go through the 2 hours and pull out like 1 minute clips or like 15-second clips of like a bomb that Edwin dropped, or like Zay said, or something that Sarah said. That'd be really cool. I want to do that, but I also have a shit ton of stuff on my plate, especially this month. But just a thought. Anyway, thank you.
I can help out, yeah. Especially since I'm in the club, it's fresh in my mind, so.
Yeah, and dude, like, no, zero pressure. You can think about it. No one's gonna judge you if you don't. So no one will even know if you don't. But we're actually. But anyway, thank you guys. Love you all. This is cool. This is dope. Thank you guys.
Thank you so much.
Peace. Everyone stay safe.
Yeah. Thank you all.
Thank you.